Hi everyone, welcome back to Sodo Chat, the gathering for marketing, tech experts, and leaders who want to help their organization get to sold out status. I'm Kay, the marketing coordinator here at Above Promotions. For those joining us for the first time, prepare for a dynamic discussion on the latest tools, innovations, policies, and strategies aimed at helping your brand sell out products or reach capacity with book services. Our last episode discussed leveraging innovation to increase sales with our CEO, Ebony Vaz. If you missed it, please visit our YouTube channel to replay the dynamic conversation. For today, we will discuss identifying the winners in your marketing tech stack. Ebony Vaz will be joining us. She is the founder and CEO of Above Promotions and one of the few marketers in the world with an engineering degree and published research focused on human behaviors and statistical data. Hi, Ebony.
Hi, Kay. How's it going today?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. How about you? How's your day so far?
It is going great. Another day in paradise. I can't complain.
Right. So let us discover the key elements that drive your digital strategies to success. Before we dive in, I want to remind the audience to stay until the end for valuable upcoming opportunities, so be sure to listen all the way through for the details. So let's unlock the secrets to my first question. Ebony, what types of tools should most marketing tech stacks contain?
I think that at this point, there are so many tools. I mean, we've talked about it before that there are literally probably last checked, someone had literally said there's 100,000 plus marketing tech tools out there. And that's not going to get any shorter. It's going to continue to expand. And so, what I like to do is kind of look at it in about five different areas. And so, I'm going to tell you the five areas and then I'll kind of explain why I think that they're so important. You want some type of marketing automation platform. So, what we call MAP. You want to have that. You want to have a CRM, customer relationship management tool. You want to have analytics and reporting tools, content management system, and social media management tools. So when we talk about the marketing automation platform, that can really be the backbone of keeping your marketing activities automated. Those can be automating tasks from like your email marketing, your lead nurturing, managing campaigns, whether they are email campaigns, whether they're cold sales email campaigns or phone calls. Being able to have some type of marketing automation is very crucial for businesses at this point. So, another good example, you're going to events, you're out here meeting a lot of people, and you get somebody's contact card, whether it's a electronic card that you have to scan via QRC or you've gotten their actual physical card. But what happens next? What happens for you? What happens for your salesperson next? So being able to automate that process is very important to building and nurturing leads. Then, of course, if you're out there meeting these people, you want to be able to put them into your CRM. And there you can actually monitor interactions in that customer relationship management database. You can really get a holistic view of what is working. So as you put in new potential leads or new people that you meet, you would tag them saying how you met them, how you engaged with them, and that will give an opportunity for people to be able to see within the company what types of events and things that you're doing that actually contribute to your bottom line. So the CRM is one of those tools that can really tell you, hey, what's working and what's not. And then as you're analyzing things, you want to have an analytics and reportings tools. So we always take a look at like web traffic and how that's working. There's other tools that help people be able to determine how people are moving throughout a website. There are tools that help to evaluate how click rates are going between what are you advertising, whether those tools are for social media, whether they're advertising for other publishers online, you want to be able to take a look and see what is working and what isn't. And then the content management system, what we call the CMS, that is where you create and publish your website or blog. So we're talking WordPress, Squarespace, Wix, we're talking all of those different web design platforms that you have to do content management. And then I would say your social media management tools. I cannot even begin to think how people are operating and creating campaigns and being successful with social media without having some type of tool to schedule the posts, to track engagement, to analyze social media performance. So those are the five must-haves. Again, marketing automation platform, a customer relation management tool, you're having analytics and reporting tools, having a content management system, and having a social media management tool. So those are the five must-haves.
Those are really great examples, Ebony. What criteria do you consider when identifying successful components within your marketing tech stack that contribute to achieving your business goals?
So whenever we do these workshops, and I know that people who have gone through the workshops that we offer for promotions, we always talk about your goals. We talk about the company's goals, we talk about the marketing goals and how those tie together. So when you are building out the marketing tech stack, it's not a matter of, oh, this is cool, this is something we might be able to use in the future. I think that's often where businesses end up accumulating these bills, paying more than they need to try to operate these marketing campaigns, but really going back and analyzing what will align with your business's goals. So, what is your goal for Q1? What is your goal for the entire 2024? And then being able to go back and measure against them. So, that's why I think when you have like that customer relationship management tool, if you're doing all these efforts and you're seeing that you're not meeting new leads, they're not people aren't being entered into the CRM on a regular basis, that kind of lets you know it's going to be very difficult for you to meet any type of sales goals if you're not having people going into the system for you to sell to. So I think that being able to say if it's successful or not, you want to be able to look at what are some of the business goals that you have that can help you get there. And again, like we think about a lot of these AI tools, are they going to align with your business goals? Are they going to get you closer to that? So instead of just purchasing a lot of different tools, and I mean that's why we have our lab internally where we test out tools. We're always looking at new innovative tools, and when colleagues are creating their tools, they talk to us and they're like, hey, you know, what are some of the things that you guys are seeing and that businesses are needing? Excuse me. So that's a way to identify success in the stack. Improving efficiency, right? So how can we streamline workflows and save the team time? I think that's another thing that we can look at and say that's pretty important. We want to be able to ensure that our team members are able to focus on getting creative things done and not continuously doing monotonous tasks that don't really add value. So we want to think about streamlining work efficiency, but measuring results is going to be very important. And so when we think about, again, like what is the results and how are we getting more leads or how are we getting those goals, we have to be able to measure it. And so if you have tools that are helping you to measure, that is really great. Um, and I'll say lastly, before we move on, sometimes we know that a tool will help us, but the user adoption on either the customer side or the internal team side is so bad. It's such a hurdle that it makes it difficult for people to be able to appreciate the tool and utilize the tool. So I would say definitely taking a look at those business goals, efficiency, being able to measure the results, and if people are going to actually be able to use the tool. And actually, here's a good example. Everybody was very excited, and not to say that the metaverse is not something that is still in the works and happening, and virtual reality and having mixed reality, those are things that are coming. They're not coming at the pace that we're seeing AI come at, but they're still coming. But the user adoption is so small there. It's so uh, big of a gap to get us to using it on a regular basis, because there's certain things and hurdles that people have to overcome to be able to utilize it. And so you have to think about that when you're thinking about these different tools that you're incorporating.
Right, right. So I also just want to add another criteria, which is cost effectiveness, because it's- when we talk about marketing, and of course, marketing tech stack is included in there, and each company or each business in there always have that budget that is set for
Yes.
everything that they do. So yeah, I just wanted to add
Yes.
that in.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Good point, Kay. Good point.
Thank you. So, just can you share examples of specific tools or technologies in your marketing tech stack that have consistently demonstrated a positive impact on your campaigns and strategies?
So I'm going, the same types of tools that I mentioned at the beginning are going to be the ones that I'm going to advocate for. And I advocate for those because those are things that you can own internally. Not a lot of businesses can afford to purchase leads, and not a lot of businesses can afford to do big ads for anything, but you can afford some type of email marketing tool. You can afford some type of CRM analytics. You can get Google Analytics for free. I mean, WordPress with as a tool is also available to people. Being able to get some type of social media management tool. So internally, we like to use Social Pilot, and I would say, I mean, for the number of we could be doing 300 posts a month across different brands, and that would be very difficult to keep track of if we had to try to do that just by a spreadsheet or just off of memory, or using our calendar to try to put that reminder there and trigger us to go and share something. Not that it is impossible to do if you have such a smaller number of social media posts that you're putting out. But when we look across all of the platforms, all the content that we have to create, I couldn't imagine having to do that even for our clients that only have 4 platforms they're engaging on. I can imagine them trying to do social media management without some type of tool. I would say that another tool that has been tried and true would be Constant Contact and MailChimp. Now, I have one client that has built up about 15,000 email addresses over on Constant Contact. And they've done that over the years. And because they've had this tool that could be the database for the emails, they've had this tool that says, hey, somebody didn't open up the email that you sent out this week. So we're going to send them another email in 3 days just to remind them about that email. That's the type of triggers and things that you want to occur and to happen, where you're not sitting there manually trying to remember it, go in and manually check it. Because I remember when email marketing first started and we had to do that. So those types of things, like your email marketing system, your social media management platform, Google Analytics, I mean, people give a lot of uh, negative energy at Google for them having so much of our information. But at the same time, for businesses, they give you so much information as well. So I think by taking a look at those tools like the Google Analytics, your MailChimp, your Constant Contacts, your social pilots, those have been ones that have always hit it out of the park. But that doesn't mean like some of the newer tools that we like to incorporate or suggest for our clients, like computer vision for market research, or utilizing different GIF platforms to be able to go along with augmented reality campaigns. Those are things that we definitely want to keep doing. Chatbots, those are also good things as well. But when I think about those MVPs that have always held it down, even if you have a chat, you collect somebody's email, you want it to go somewhere. So it's got to still go into a Constant Contact or MailChimp. So I think that when I take a look at it, those are some of the ones, and I'm not advocating so much for those brands that I mentioned, but I am just using those as examples that businesses can really grab a hold of those.
Right, right. There are really also a lot of brands that are using those two tools. How do you assess your current marketing tech stack's effectiveness in driving customer engagement, conversions, and overall ROI?
So when we take a look at the effectiveness of a campaign, we're going to always take a look at what are those organizations' goals, and we will set for key performance indicators, KPIs. That way we can take a look and determine if we're moving the needle. So our theme and focus has always been at Above Promotion, storytelling, science, and technology. And no matter what we do and we focus on, we're going to always keep storytelling, science, the science of measuring um, the effectiveness. We're talking consumer science and psychology for getting consumers to move the needle, and we're talking technology, the tools that we use to deliver the campaigns and measure them. So we're going to always be looking at those, and measurement is one of the biggest things that we look at. So if we adjust someone's story via A/B testing, which is another tool for measuring effectiveness, we need to be able to measure that and say, okay, when we ran this campaign before, it was a good campaign, but perhaps the words we used didn't resonate. So then we're going to change the words and try something else. And you'll see, even as and you know this, even as we do like social media, we're we're not always using the same text across all of the platforms. We're doing different platforms, doing different texts. And so being able to measure the performance and determine, like, are we converting? Are we getting the website traffic? Are we generating leads? Are we increasing the customer acquisition cost? Those are things that we're constantly taking a look at to measure the effectiveness. And then I'll say you have to review, really, really, really review those tools. And we always talk about data privacy and all that stuff, and that's constantly changing. You have the terms and conditions and the policies changing. I'll give another example, and I'll use Facebook as one of them. So Meta will decide, like, hey, we want to open up our system and allow all these developers to come in and generate these API tools. Let's see where they go, and maybe they will create something cool that we can acquire ourselves. Yeah. So everybody thinks that's so just great of Facebook to open up, but really they really want to see what you're going to develop and whether they want to develop it in-house or actually purchase what these developers are developing. So you Facebook can say, yes, we're going to open up this API, allow anybody to see all analytics that we capture. And then as they go through, they're going to see, like, hey, we're getting a lot of developers pulling these analytics. Perhaps we want people to come directly to our platform to get them, or perhaps we're capturing analytics that people don't like. And so you've purchased some marketing tool to help you run, and one of the features is a analytics that Facebook has determined they no longer want to share with everybody. So that's why these regular reviews need to occur, because you could have purchased some software thinking and it's running in the background that you've pulled together and it's feeding into some dashboard that you've created. And then at the end of the day, Facebook or Meta has stopped allowing that tool to even have access to it. And you've been paying recurring fees month after month after month, not even realizing it. So I think that regular reviews is going to be very important for seeing the effectiveness of whatever third party tool that you've decided to incorporate to your marketing campaigns.
That's right. I just want to go back quickly to when you mentioned about using different copies for each platforms. So, of course, using different copies for each platforms, because we have this. Each platform has different audiences, and for example, we're using LinkedIn for one of our clients, wherein we mostly focused on doing highlighting her catering services, something like that. And then on other platforms that we use, we focus on her desserts that she offers. So yeah, it's really good to take note of making sure that you know the audience that you are targeting for each platform.
Hmm. For
Anyway,
sure.
so
For sure.
you're right. Mhm. So how do you determine the integrations you need when evaluating a marketing tech stack?
Okay. So I think this is one of the things that people have failed at in the past. And I think it's one of the reasons why some executives and some people in management are hesitant about the implementation of marketing tech stacks because people are not considering the integrations and how the data can flow, the ease of use, and the scalability. So let me explain. We want to have this tool, and we know that this tool can help us to make decisions. But if this tool stands off by itself, more than likely it's going to be difficult to pull for reporting. It's going to be difficult to bring into some type of regular basis on being able to make decisions. And so we want to think about what can make a seamless data exchange between two different platforms. And there are people that is their sole job at a company is to focus on the data exchange between platforms. And so we want to think about from a standpoint when it's time for you to perhaps go to your management team, or this for you to decide as a business owner what tools you want to purchase. You want to think about the fact that you want to avoid any type of manual data entry where if this platform doesn't connect with this one, now the team has to spend 2 hours to get this data, put it into another format to get it into a dashboard for reporting. So it can be very difficult if you don't have a good understanding of how the data will flow from the new tool and work with other existing tools. And then that itself could affect how the customer journey works. So if the data is flowing from one place to another or doesn't flow anywhere, it can be problematic. And how a good example of data flow that people are annoyed by, that for some reason I can't understand why it still hasn't been fully fixed, or companies just don't go ahead and further invest in it. But when you call in to some big corporation and you want to talk about a problem that you're having, they will say to speed up the process, put in your whatever account number, your phone number, your name, whatever it is to identify who you are. You can go in, put that information in. By the time it gets to an actual live person, they proceed to then ask you some of the same information. Now, I'm not saying that there's not that in place and there aren't security checks when that person answers the phone, but 80% of the time, something has happened and that data flow has not happened to the agent who's answering the phone. So that's a good example of like data flow and the importance of the integrations of the tools that you put in place. And of course, again, the ease of use. You just don't want the tool to be a headache for your team. And then you think about the scalability. So when I say think about the scalability, people always think ahead to like, we can be this $500 million company. So I'm going to get this really large sales CRM platform, and this will be the answer. I won't have to make any other changes because we'll already be in the system. Well, perhaps you don't need that platform at this time. And so you can think about choosing a, whether it's a package that happens or just a completely different tool that allows you to grow and scale as you need and as your marketing needs evolve and change. So think about, when you think about the integration, think about data flow, the ease of use, and scalability.
Thank you for sharing that, Ebony. Are there any security vulnerabilities in our marketing tech stack?
In a marketing tech stack, yes,
Oh, I mean
there
in
are.
A. Yeah.
I'm like, in ours, there better not be, but no. So yes, you should always be concerned
Mhm.
about what you're doing. So you always want to make sure that you're paying attention to updates that companies make. When they said, hey, we just made a new update, you should go ahead and um, re-download or reinstall. Or we have the security patch that came out, we need you to go ahead and download and install. You don't want to miss those security patches, because I like to think that the security patch was identified long before there was a threat within the company. But more and more, these security patches are happening because someone else outside of the company has found that there's a vulnerability. So always be up to date on the software and the patches that come out and the updates that they do. And then you want to always be taking a look at the data access controls. You want to limit access to sensitive data, and you want to monitor the user activity. So you might have someone that's on one role over in accounting, and that role is for them to paychecks. So, but they don't necessarily need accounts receivables role, which is seeing where all the bills get posted. So you want to be able to take a look and determine what is the user activity that a person will need and what they'll need access to, especially if the data is going to be sensitive. And then, of course, compliance. I think everybody needs to have some type of compliance posture and policy in place, and trying to ensure that the marketing tech stack is in line with that. When we think about all the changes that is happening with all these states here in the US that are creating their own data privacy regulations, plus if you're doing business with like 20 or 30 other countries, they have their own. So you have to take that into consideration. There might be a tool that I really like, but I can only use that tool in 38 of the states in the US, and I definitely can't use it in the EU. So that is something that you also have to think about as well.
Yes, right. That's why whenever we try a new marketing technology or any tool that we wanted to look at, we always make sure to ask their privacy policy, like what's in it, if they could add this one, something like that. So just to ensure that we don't have those problems in the future with people who will, or with clients that we'll be having. So, in navigating the ever evolving tech landscape, what strategies do you employ to stay informed about the emerging technologies?
So I definitely, one of the things you just hit on there is like vendor relationships. We have open communication. A lot of vendors know that we are constantly testing tools, and that's why customers come to us, because they know that we have a good grasp as to what tools are in the marketplace, what tools are compliant, etc. So the fact that we've built really good vendor relationships that they can client's concerned, what's keeping them up at night, having that good vendor relationship. And just like the example that you just shared, like we had someone that has a tool and it's like, hey, I think this will be great for your client. I'm like, I think this would be great for our client too, but you're not addressing these couple of privacy concerns. And I'm a little bit concerned about that because your state's about to come down with the law, and we need to make sure this gets addressed. And I think it took them a few months. They came back to us like, hey, we've resolved that. This is what it looks like. This isn't our privacy. And that's how we build a relationship. I think that not just looking at these vendors that contact you as they're just trying to sell and take your money, but they want to also give you the best product. So those vendor relationships help. We test a lot of different things. So we're constantly testing pilot programs. We're constantly testing tools that might be going outside of what people are normally used to using. We've built those relationships to be able to do that for some of these companies. But I will say overall, it's like you have to be open to attending conferences and networking with other professionals in your industry, networking with people who are in the marketing industry. You can follow different marketing publications. there's an opportunity there for you to be able to keep ahead by just staying plugged in. You're not going to learn anything new by staying only specifically in your role at your company, only specifically in the industry. So you have to do some industry research. And I just got off of a call this morning with a our in our county that we live in. We have a tech roundtable, and all the people who have like tech related businesses or tech businesses, we get together around this table and we share some concerns and things that go on, and that allows us to be able to move ahead, and we share resources. So you can't stay ahead of the curve by staying in your bubble.
That's right. That's right. For our last question, as we're coming up on time, should companies consider outsourcing any marketing techniques?
Of course. Of course they should. The reason outsourcing the marketing techniques or the technology and having those experts like us come and give those type of evaluations is because your team has been in the zone. They've been completely focused on there. They're probably stretched too thin to manage any additional adding any additional products or vendors to the marketing tech stack. They know that bringing some another tech stack in will actually either be outside of what they can do, so there won't be any good data flow. They know that anything that they implement will take a big lift. So how we can be that expert in implementing and managing complex marketing technologies, being able to help you if you don't have the technical skills on your team, people who are the tech team is so overwhelmed that they just need some additional help.
Thank you, Ebony. So we learned a lot from this session today. If only we had more time, we could talk about more and more about this marketing tech stack. So thank you for sharing great insights with us today. Wrapping up this insightful discussion, we learned key criteria for successful tech components, real world examples of impactful tools that we can use, assessing the effectiveness and measuring ROI, strategies for emerging technologies, and overcoming challenges for your digital strategy. So check out our website for free resources on innovation. Follow us on LinkedIn for more valuable insights. We also want to thank those who tuned in. If you joined us late, do not worry. This recording will be available on our website abovepromotions.com. If you're not subscribed to our newsletter, you missed a couple of these upcoming opportunities. So, Power Women Business Expo will be happening tomorrow, and Ebony Vaz will be speaking there, as well as on Impact the Future by Google Women Tech Makers. Ebony will be talking about chatbot mastery happening on March 24th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. So visit our social media channels for more details. Until then, keep innovating and achieving new heights. Thank you, everyone.